What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Saturday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast with me, Matt Perrault, at Sports Talk Matt. To follow me on Twitter. This podcast being brought to you by BetMGM and the $1,000 first bet offer that's available right now for new users with the promo code JUICE at BetMGM.com. All right, so a 2-1 night last night, another small win. It's a full unit win for us. Small win on Thursday, small win on Friday. Had a wash on Monday, a win on Tuesday, small loss on Wednesday, I believe it was. So overall, it's an up week. But if I bomb today, none of that's going to matter because get comfortable. This is one of the largest and maybe the longest podcasts I'm going to have here in my now going on 3 years hosting the Daily Juice. I've got 4 bets in the NHL. I've got 2 bets in the UFC. I'm going to split up the UFC to half unit plays. If you want to bet full units, be my guest. I guess it was sort of like a running joke when I left it, like betting half a unit was like a bad idea. I disagree with that, but it's just a different philosophy. I personally, when I'm going to bet plus money on UFC prop betting, basically what it is, I don't like betting complete units, full units. I just don't like committing to it because its fighting is so volatile. So just how I do it. If you want to bet a full unit on the play, go right ahead. If you like the play, you want to trail it, and you want to bet more than what I bet, go right ahead. I mean, that's totally on you. I've got over 5 units in play today, so that's a pretty big Saturday for me. I don't normally have this many bets going, but this NHL card is unbelievable. This is just all building up to today, all of our betting, everything we've done. 4 plays in the NHL, 2 plays in for UFC 287. This is going to be such a fun day. Hopefully you guys can clear off the calendar and you can watch some of these games. ABC's got an unbelievable slate of games to watch here on Saturday. Nationally televised games, easy to watch. The Boston Bruins are going for the record to tie it for the most wins in history today with 62 in the striking distance for the Boston Bruins today against the New Jersey Devils. We'll find out whether the Western Conference will shake out, and we've got teams, Colorado's got 100 points. Dallas has 100 points. The Wild have 98 points. They are all playing today. The Golden Knights are trying to stay ahead of the Edmonton Oilers. They are playing today. It is just what a fun day in the NHL. The NBA is a mess. We got the parlay right yesterday with the Warriors and the Pelicans. That was nice to get a full unit bet to come in on that. The steam on that went crazy. The Warriors were 5.5, closed at 10, I think. I'm not sure if they covered, but they won the game. I think they did cover, but they won the game outright. Pelicans won their game outright, so we cashed that, which was nice. Baseball went 1-1. We got the Mariners to win their game outright against the Cleveland Guardians. We missed on the run line for the Giants, but they lost the game. So it's still, the stat bet is still there, by the way. If you want to bet the Giants on the run line. It's kind of like the Dodgers. If you're going to bet the Dodgers on the run line, because if they win, they're going to win on the run line, or they're going to lose. Like the Giants lost the game outright to the Royals. So it didn't matter if, you bet the run line or you bet them, just money line, you lost both bets. So sometimes it's worthwhile just taking the run line versus the money line just because of the amount you're going to wager and what you could win coming back. Before we get into the plays, and boy, do I have a lot of talking to do here on the podcast today, let's talk about how you guys can win a free year of premium BettingPros Premium with a free upgrade by entering into the contest that we are running for the month of April. Subscribe to the BettingPros YouTube channel, like this video, and comment underneath, because when you do, you could be the one we pick for the free upgrade to BettingPros Premium. Whether you're looking for exclusive picks, top-rated player props, or custom analysis of your betting performance, BettingPros Premium has the tools to help you cash more bets, plain and simple. Don't want to wait for the giveaway, though. You can sign up today at bettingpros.com/upgrade and start betting smarter, not harder. Okay, crack the knuckles. Let's get into it. I'm going to try to go in somewhat of an order of how the games are going to be played. I think I may have 1 or 2 of them out of order, but let's start with the Knights and the Stars. This game taking place in Dallas. This game is going to be shown on ABC on national TV. Now, for the Golden Knights, the start time, it's a little interesting. It's an early start time. Now, 12:30 Pacific, they do play times. Vegas does play games like that. But this is a Dallas start after we watch Pittsburgh and Detroit. That's the first game, okay? Big game for Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh wins that game, but I don't know how. I mean, they got some shakiness with the goaltender. Detroit's been playing really hard. Detroit might win that game. Had people listening to my other show who are big Red Wing fans saying, we're beating the Penguins in that game. We're going to keep them out of the playoffs. So I'm going to pass on that game. Buffalo and Carolina is the first game of the day. I have no interest in that. Vegas at Dallas, ABC, 12:30 Pacific time, 3:30 Eastern time start, right in the middle of the day. The Vegas Golden Knights are 6-3-1 to the over. Sorry, to the under rather, over their last to the over their last 10 games. Dallas is 5-3-2 to the over their last 10 games, with those 2 games being pushes are important. Now, Brossoit is scheduled to play in net. This is somewhat similar to the bet we had last time with Vegas. If it is Brossoit, okay, fire on this. And hopefully by the time you guys are listening to this, you're going to know who's in net. Okay, I fired on it under the assumption that it's going to be Brossoit. It's important because Ottinger is going to be on the other side, okay? Look, this is a huge game for Dallas. It's a big game for the Golden Knights as well. And while the numbers may scream, go ahead and bet the over, it's 2-0 to the under with these two teams playing so far this year. It could be a push. There could be a 4-2 final. That's possible. But I think it's a coin flip as to who wins the game. They both need it. Dallas is really, really good at home. But the problem is that the Vegas Golden Knights on the road are tremendous. They're actually a better road team than a home team. 25-7-7 on the road. Dallas is 20-10-9 at home. 4-0 Stars win in the first matchup. 3-2 the win for the Stars in the second matchup. The Golden Knights, I lean towards the Golden Knights winning this game because it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. And the Golden Knights just beat LA 5-2. But in their last road game, they lost to Nashville 3-2. And they went to a shootout with Minnesota, which they could have lost that game very easily. They lost to San Jose 4-3 in overtime in their road game before that. So they've been leaking oil a little bit on the road. 4-1, 5-1 wins at home for the Stars against the Flyers and the Nashville Predators. Both those games push on a 5-1 and under 6 on a 4-1 basis. So again, I think there could be Vegas played so well against LA in their last game at home. They blitzed them. They're up 4-0 in the first period. Not to say that Dallas is going to, come out here and be really prepared, but I think they're going to be ready to go here, and I think we're going to see playoff caliber hockey. The scary part is that Western Conference playoff hockey oftentimes is more wide open than Eastern Conference playoff hockey, but Ottinger at home is just a tremendous goaltender, and Brossoit's been really, really good. Brossoit's been the better of the two, and he should be the goaltender going forward for the Golden Knights. I like Quick, but you got to play the hot hand, and that's Brossoit. You got a 2.66 goals against average for Ottinger here at home. And Wedgwood's been really good as well. So to me, this is one of those teams with Dallas. I don't really care which team plays, which goalie plays in the game for that matter, because I think it's fine either way. 2 games so far against the Golden Knights, 0.97 goals against average for Ottinger. Most likely they'll play him again because he's been very good against Vegas. I'm going to play the under. I think Vegas could win the game, okay? But I'm going to play the under. It's -110. I'm going to put 1.1 units down on this. Under 6, Vegas and the Dallas Stars here. First nationally televised game of the day, or second one actually. Second nationally televised game on ABC. Awesome game. If it's not Brossoit and it's Quick, I don't know. I may punt out of this and just go ahead and bet the over and just take the 0.1 loss and just move on to something else, okay? That's me personally. But because I have to wait for goaltenders, the official play is the under 6, and let's hope it's Brossoit up against Ottinger. If that's the case, under 6 for 1.1 units. Now, second game for the card, and there are, well, actually, you know what? Tampa Bay and Ottawa gets played first. Let's jump in there. Tampa Bay and Ottawa plays at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. The Jersey Bruins game is actually at 8 o'clock Eastern time, so we've got a game in between that. So let's talk about that. Tampa Bay at Ottawa. Man alive. Ottawa 8-1-1 to the over at home over their last 10. The first two meetings between Tampa Bay and Ottawa both have gone over. 4-3 in Tampa, 7-2. Senators won the game 7-2 over Tampa just back on the 23rd of March, by the way, against the Lightning. The Lightning on the road have not been good. 18-21-1 on the road. But at home, the Ottawa Senators are really good. 22-14-3. But what do they do at home? They play wide open, and I mean wide open at home. On the road, they're not that great. Yes, the last game at home was a 3-0 loss to the Maple Leafs, so it went a little bit off track there. But before that, 5-4 to the Flyers, 5-2 to the Panthers, 7-2 against the Lightning, 5-4 against Tampa Bay, against Toronto, 5-4 against the Avalanche, 6-3 against, that's a road game, 5-4 there, 5-2 against the Blue Jackets, 6-1 against the Red Wings, 6-2 against the Red Wings. I mean, it's just the games are crazy, high scoring. Tampa Bay has not really been impressive, to be quite honest, in the way they have played recently. 6-3, 6-1 on this road trip. They've lost them both, okay? They're in the playoffs. So maybe there's a little bit of a team that's lagging a bit and they just aren't really gung-ho here to go all on out. They've clinched a playoff spot. They've got 96 points. They know they're playing Toronto. That series, you can bet that series right now. So maybe it's just about not trying to get guys hurt, which you get an Ottawa Senator team that's going to play hard because it's one of the big boys coming into their barn. 6.5 is the total. I was stunned. I thought it was going to be 7. It's 6.5 minus 120. I think you got to jump on that. I think this thing will end. I think this will close at 7. I'm really surprised. 6.5. We're going over 6.5. Ottawa and Tampa. Tampa's 5-4-1 to the over on the road. 3-2 over their last 5. Let's ride the train. Ride the trend here. Bet the over. 1.2 units down. Over 6.5. Ottawa and Tampa Bay. Now, let's go to the Bruins game and the Devils. History, boys and girls. History. 62 wins is in their grasp, and they'll have 3 games afterwards to go ahead and break this record. The Bruins have talked about wanting this record. The Bruins have talked about going after this record, and they could get it and then rest everybody, okay? Or tie it and rest everybody and just say, okay, we'll get one of the wins of the last 3. We'll get one of them to break the record. Or maybe they want to set the record and put it up there at 65 and say, go get it, guys. There's 65 wins. Go get it. The Bruins are red hot, like we know. I mean, Toronto was up 1-0 in the third period. I bet the Bruins money line. They come back and they win. At home, the Bruins it's stupid. I mean, it's unbelievable what they have done at home. They're 32-4-3 at home. 4 losses in regulation in the entire season. Devils are 27-8-4 on the road. They are phenomenal on the road. They're coming off of a huge win against Columbus, beat them 8-1. Killed them. They beat the Penguins 5-1. Last road game was against Winnipeg. They didn't show up. We bet Winnipeg in that game. They lost 6-1. I think I bet Winnipeg, or did I bet the under in that game? I think I bet the under in that game. I knew I got that game wrong. And then on the road, they beat Chicago 6-3. The Bruins have been playing 1-goal games like crazy. 2-1 over Columbus, 4-3 over Pittsburgh, 4-3 over St. Louis, 2-1 over Toronto. Overtimes and shootouts like crazy. They just play well enough to win. The Bruins beat the Devils 4-3 and 3-1 so far this year. Yes, the first game went over. But given the way Boston's been playing at home, and the numbers are crazy, the Bruins are 8-1-1 to the under over their last 10 games at home. The Devils are 6-3-1 to the over, but they haven't been playing playoff caliber teams. And this is a game nobody wants to be the team that gets beat for the tying or the record-setting loss. Okay, no one wants to be that trivia question. Okay, so this Devils team is going to be coming out. They're young, they're hungry, they're going to fly around. This is going to be playoff hockey. This is a grinder. The referees, I think, put the whistle in their pockets. They don't call a lot of penalties. Bruins power play has been very good recently, but I don't think we're going to see a lot of power plays. If it's Swayman in net, which it most likely will be, he has a 1.81 goals against average at home. If it's Allmark at home, he has a 1.64 goals against average, even better. If it's Allmark, I think this team for the Devils plays really hard, but I think they also play tight and they don't want to give up many goals. 2.7 goals allowed per game. Bruins 2.1 goals allowed per game. Under 6. minus 115. I'm going to lay the 1.15 units down on this. Go under 6, the Bruins and the Devils. I do lean towards the Bruins, okay, to win this game. It's a short price on the Bruins for a reason. The books are enticing you to take the Bruins here, okay? I think they're saying go ahead and bet Boston. The books believe the Devils are live to win this game. And I can't really disagree because, as I said, the Bruins have been playing very interesting hockey games, tight hockey games that could go one way or the other, coin flip type of hockey games. 2-1, 4-3, 4-3, 2-1, okay? Shootouts, overtimes. I mean, these games could go the other way, and Boston could have lost these games. So they're winning these games. Devils could very well win this game, and the Bruins know that they have 3 games that they could go ahead and win more easily, I should say, than a team like this with the Devils, who are definitely wanting to puff their chest out. They're going to be a playoff team. Bruins play at Philly, home for Washington, and at Montreal. They can easily win all 3 of those games. If they lose to New Jersey, they can set the record in Philadelphia. They can break the record at home against Washington. That's very much a possibility here. So that's why I'm not doing a Bruins parlay, not doing a Bruins money line bet like you might think. Bruins could very well win this game, but the Devils can win this game. There's no debate in my mind the Devils can win this game, and I think the under's in play in both situations. Under 6, minus 115 for the Bruins and the Devils here. Jumping in with that. Here is something if you want extra before I give you the last play for hockey. If you are a gift parlay fan, okay, the Knights and the Stars are 9-1 and 8-2 respectively over the last 10 games to a yes goal in the first 10 minutes. If you combine it with Florida and Washington, Florida's 9-1 and Washington is 7-3. So a Florida, Washington, Vegas, Dallas gift parlay is a plus 160 bet. The Bruins are 9-1 to a goal in the first 10 minutes. I didn't see if you add that third leg, if you want to get really squirrely here, but the numbers do kind of point towards potentially the Bruins getting a goal fast and then sitting on it, or the Devils scoring and the Devils sitting on it. But I think the 2-legger, I don't like 3-leg parlays right now. I'm only playing 2-leg parlays. But if I was going to play this, Knights and the Stars or Bruins and Devils, take your pick. I think I like the Knights and the Stars better personally. Florida and Washington, 9-1, 7-3. That's a plus 160 parlay if you want something along those lines for a gift parlay. Last bet, last game of the night. This game is awesome. The Avalanche are at the Kings. I mean, to end this night after all these games and now we get this at 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern time. If you have ESPN Plus, you have to be watching this. You got to watch this game. This game is going to be so fun. Get a 2-screener, watch UFC 287, and watch Colorado and Los Angeles. I cannot wait for this. So the Avalanche are a short minus 119 favorite here against the Kings. Did you know the Kings are 2-0 against the Avalanche? They're 2-0. The Avalanche are rolling. They've won 4 of 5. They beat San Jose twice. They beat Dallas at home 5-2. They lost at home to Minnesota. They beat the Anaheim Ducks 5-1. The Kings, on the other hand, have lost 3 of 5. They lost to Edmonton 3-1 at home, lost to Vegas 5-2, didn't look good in their last game at all because they know that they're in. It's just a matter of, do they want to improve their standings at all? They know they're in the postseason. But it's a big difference for Colorado versus the LA Kings, who have 100 points. They're 6 points behind the Golden Knights now. They're 3 points behind the Oilers. So it's not that big of a deal for them because they have a pretty good idea that they're going to play the number 2 team, which is most likely going to be Edmonton. So the first round matchup is going to be Edmonton versus the Kings, Oilers Kings. That's pretty much set. Vegas will wind up playing the number 2 wildcard team, which at the moment is the Winnipeg Jets. Calgary Flames are right there. 89 points for them, 89 points for the Jets. I'll give you a couple of extra plays if you want something even extra, even more to jump in, because those 2 teams are playing today because everyone is playing today in the NHL. So you got a couple other angles if you want to jump in with that. You could do, well, I'm going to say right now, you could easily do a Jets and Flames moneyline parlay, and that is a plus 157 parlay. Flames have to win over the Canucks on the road, and the Jets are at home against the Predators. So we're talking about two teams who are Vancouver's eliminated, Nashville's eliminated, Jets have 89 points, Flames have 89 points. They absolutely have to win. But back to Colorado and the Kings for a second. So this is nuts. The Kings, as I said, they kind of know where they are. On the other side, Colorado has 100 points. Dallas has 100 points. The Wild aren't out of it. They've got 98 points. They're right behind them. So if you win the Central, you will play the number one wildcard team, which is right now the Seattle Kraken, who have clinched that wildcard spot. But if you don't, you can either play the Stars or you can play the Wild. I mean, that is a big difference. That's a huge difference as to who you wind up playing in the first round of the playoffs. Look, the Kraken are going to be dangerous, but the Kraken are not like the Dallas Stars, and they're not like the Wild. Those are wars, straight up wars. If you're the Avalanche, you are incredibly incentivized to go and win the Central. Get this W. On top of the fact that if you wind up playing the Kings at some point, you want to know you can beat them. You want to know you can go there and win if you have to. I like the pedigree for Colorado. I like the way they're playing. They're 8-2 over their last 10. They've won 3 games in a row. The Kings are 5-4-1 over their last 10. They've lost 2 games in a row. I think the Avalanche are going to LA, and I think the Avalanche are going to show their pedigree. They're going to win this game. I'm going to lay the 1.19 units now. Money line, Colorado to beat the LA Kings. I'm taking the first win of the year. 2-0 is huge. The over is 2-0 as well. It's over 6. 6 is the total. I lean towards the over in this game, but I think the safer play is just take the Avalanche to win the game because I'm not loving what I'm seeing out of the LA Kings. I think we're taking the Avalanche because they're playing for more than the Kings are. Avalanche on the money line. Okay? I know I just gave you guys a lot to chew on here for hockey. So the leans, which you guys tend to like, are parlay leans. Flames Jets moneyline parlay is plus 157. The gift parlay of Knights Stars in Florida Washington, yes to a goal in the first 10 minutes, that's plus 160. The official plays are under 6 Knights and the Stars minus 110, Bruins Devils under 6 minus 115, Ottawa Lightning over 6.5 minus 120, and the Avalanche money line against the Kings at minus 119. That's hockey, all right? So after we watch this whole day of hockey, we have UFC 287 in Miami. The 2 fights I'm going to look at are the main and the co-main, all right? So let's talk about Gilbert Burns and his fight against Jorge Masvidal. So 2.5 is the total in this fight. It's juiced to the under. Minus 400, minus 450 on Gilbert Burns. The reason is it's been since 2019 that Jorge Masvidal has won a fight. If you can believe that. He hasn't won a fight in the UFC since 2019. This is getting into like Conor McGregor status where you're living off what you did. I love Game Bread. I love the story. I love who he is, the personality. I love it. He's into boxing now. He's doing professional boxing fighting. I love it. But as a promoter, not as a fighter, as a promoter. But Gilbert Burns is on a mission. This guy is 2 years younger than Jorge Masvidal. He feels like he's got a lot left in the tank. And the win over Neil Magny was really impressive to me. Gilbert Burns is going to win this fight. It's a question of how. They're in Miami for Jorge Masvidal. This kind of feels like a goodbye. It kind of feels like this is like his last time being a main or co-main in the welterweight division. He's getting up there in age. I mean, I was born in 1977. He was born in 1984. All right. I'm 46 years old. How long is Masvidal going to do this? Gilbert Burns hits guys, but he also takes guys down a lot. He averages 2 takedowns per 15-minute fights. His submission average is pretty bad. It's 0.6, but he has become a much better wrestler and grappler by showing that he was able to arm triangle Neil Magny in his last fight. I don't think Gilbert Burns wants to sit up on his feet and box, even though I think his boxing is much better, with Jorge Masvidal. And Masvidal's one real path to victory here is to catch Burns and to knock him out. And this is fighting, and this is Masvidal. So because of that reason, I'm not laying $4 on Gilbert Burns. And 2, I'm not sure this fight goes for the distance if it goes to the ground. And I think that's going to be Gilbert Burns' best path to victory here. Get him on the ground. He'll have a massive advantage if he goes and gets Jorge Masvidal on his back. It's tough to do that. I'm not saying it's easy to get Masvidal on his back. He has a very good takedown defense of 74%. That's tremendous. Masvidal knows what everybody wants to do. He knows no one wants to stand and throw hands with him. That he knows they want to go to the mat. Just think Gilbert Burns, his path to victory is by submission, and it's plus 255 at Circa Sports here tonight in Vegas. I'm throwing a half a unit down on it, all right? It's a little bit of a Hail Mary. Burns by decision is also a decent bet, okay? You want to jump in by that, that's possible, Burns. But my fear with Burns by decision is you're in Miami. It is Masvidal. If it's going to be a tight fight, if it's like 1 round apiece, I don't know. I get a little worried about the crowd influencing the judges and maybe Masvidal getting a split decision or something. Like I don't want to go down that road. And I'm very concerned about Masvidal if this thing goes to the mat as to whether or not he's going to be able to keep Burns off of him. Burns he's 5'10", but he's built. He's so solid. Shorter reach advantage. Masvidal's got a 3-inch reach advantage on him. It's just been a tough run for Jorge Masvidal, losing to Colby Covington, losing both fights to Kamaru Usman. And Gilbert Burns very well could be sitting there with a huge opportunity to fight for the belt if he gets a W here today. This might put him into the welterweight conversation. So I don't know. I think it's definitely something to take a look at. If Burns is impressive, if he dominates Masvidal, this could really catapult him back into a title conversation in the welterweight division. I'm going to go Burns by submission. It's plus 255. I'm going to put a half a unit down on it. A little bit of a Hail Mary bet, but I think if Burns is going to win the fight, I think that's one way he can get it done. I think there's good value on it. Burns by submission at plus 255. And like I said, I know his takedown numbers haven't been great, but he just submitted Neil Magny in the first round of his last fight that happened in January. So grappling-wise, he's starting to become a better wrestler and a better grappler. I think Gilbert Burns' path to victory is going to be that. That takes us to a main event. Alex Pereira, however you want to say it, against Israel Adesanya. Let me just say this right at the top. I would love to see Adesanya win this fight, because then we would get an epic trilogy fight. Because this is the second time they fought in the UFC. They fought 2 times previously. First time was so long ago that I almost I forgot that it happened, but the kickboxing knockout was pretty impressive. And that's what everybody talks about, is that Pereira has knocked out Adesanya twice. Now, he left him unconscious in kickboxing. In the UFC, the ref jumped in and maybe jumped in too early. And people say, look it, that's why Adesanya is favored, because on most people's cards in the first matchup, Adesanya was winning the fight. Total is 4.5 rounds, juice to the under. Adesanya has to prove to the world that he can beat this guy, because right now it looks like Alex is the kryptonite to Israel Adesanya. The size difference is tremendous when you look at them together. When they rehydrate, it's a big deal. The weight cut was easier this time for Pereira than it was the first matchup, which means he may have more power and more in the gas tank late in the fight, which, by the way, he knocked out Izzy in the 5th round. So gas tank, if he has more in the gas tank than last time, Adesanya, I just watched the whole fight. I watched the first fight, went through it. Adesanya, I had him winning 3 rounds to 1 heading into the final round. He hurt Pereira for sure. No debating it. But there's a difference in the power between these two men. When Pereira hits Adesanya, he moves. Adesanya hurt Alex in the first fight. There's no debating it. But nowhere near the level that Adesanya got hurt in the 5th round, when finally Alex was able to let his hands go because he wasn't conserving energy. He knew it was a 5th round. He let it go. And when he did, Adesanya was not standing in front of him for very long. Look, maybe this goes the distance. And if you want to take Adesanya by decision, I don't mind the bet at all, okay? But if Pereira is going to win, he's not going to win a technical fight. This is not how this guy's going to win. I think he's comfortable losing rounds to get the damage built up to finally clean out Adesanya. I'm kind of surprised. One, I'm surprised that Pereira is a plus 115 dog as being the champion and that he's never lost to Adesanya. What that tells me is the books were looking at the scorecard before the knockout and said, look, this fight got stopped with 2 minutes to go in the 5th round. If it goes to the cards, Adesanya probably keeps his belt. That's why he's favored. But I can't bet on Adesanya until he proves it, that he can actually win this fight, that he can win against a guy he has never won and has been knocked out 2 times against. I love Adesanya, the personality, the story, the guy, everything. He's so smart as a technical fighter. The striking is unbelievable. But he's standing in front of his Clubber Lane. He's standing in front of his Drago. This is just, I don't know. All right? I just don't know, and I cannot bet it. So I'm going to pull a bit of a, bet on I want Izzy to win. I'm pulling for Izzy to win. But I think how it ends, my head tells me that Pereira is going to knock him out again. It's plus 185. I'm taking a half a unit and I'm putting on that. Alex to knock out Adesanya again. I just think the power is so different at this weight class, at the middleweight division. It's just a different type of striker. He is unreal, and he is, running through the UFC. He's running through the division. He's had one fight go to the cards. That was against Bruno Silva, but Strickland knocked out. Adesanya knocked out. He's still learning mixed martial arts. He's very much a kickboxer, but he's still learning. Maybe Adesanya is going to wrestle more. He tried to wrestle, but Pereira is really strong, and he's really hard to get to the ground. So I don't know if Adesanya can do it, to be completely frank. I don't think Izzy's a good enough grappler to get him to the ground. Takedown defense for Pereira is 73%. He has never tried a submission in the UFC. He doesn't really try to even attempt it. He tries takedowns very infrequently. Rarely goes, but Adesanya's got a .06 takedown average per 15 minutes. He had one takedown attempt officially in the first matchup. Knockout Pereira. I'm going to bet what my eyes tell me. And my eyes tell me is that Adesanya's got a real tough time with this dude. I would love it if Adesanya wins. We get a third fight, and I'm in on it. Let's go. 100%. Would love to see Adesanya win this fight. Not saying he can't. With my money, half a unit on Alex Pereira by knockout to knock out Adesanya for a third time. Technical knockout or knockout here at plus 185. The weight cut being better, easier this time around to get down to, to get down to 185. That's bad news for Izzy. That's not great. So, in the UFC, Pereira by knockout for plus 185, Burns by submission at plus 255. Both those bets for a half a unit. Hit one, we make money. Okay, just need one of the two. Hit them both, that's beautiful. But I understand that these are a little bit of a Hail Mary type of play coming in. Things might go awry. If they go well, it's a very good night. All right. So that's a full unit in the UFC. Over 4 units in play for hockey. Huge card. Very much unlike what I normally do. But this is such a great sports Saturday. I had to really unload here because we're getting towards the end of the NHL season. Getting close to when we can start betting exactas for the NHL playoffs. Looking really forward to doing that and playing off of that and having some fun. May or may not make those official. I don't know. We'll see. But looking forward to taking advantage of those opportunities coming up for the NHL playoffs. So, all right. Once again, quickly to run through the official plays. Under 6 Knights Stars. Under 6 Bruins Devils. Over 6.5 Ottawa and Tampa Bay. Avalanche on the money line at minus 119. Burns by submission at plus 255. And Alex Pereira by knockout at plus 185. See you in the Discord channel. Let's chit-chat about all these games and all these fights all day, all night. BettingPros.com/chat to get in, or there's a link underneath me on YouTube. My name is Matt Perrault. Follow me on Twitter at SportsTalkMatt. Each and every morning, it is the Daily Juice Podcast being brought to you by BetMGM.